Apologies in advance if some words are mispronounced. What is a Buddhist theocracy, or also known as the dual system of government, or Cho-sid-nyi? The Cho-sid-nyi is a traditional political structure for Tibetan communities. It involves a balance between secular and religious authority, where the Desi, temporal ruler, coexists with the spiritual authority, and power is sometimes unified under a higher single ruler. This dual system has its roots in the principle of merging Dharma, religion, with Samsara, temporal governance, aiming to blend the spiritual and secular roles. It has evolved differently across regions, such as Tibet, Bhutan, Sikkim, and Ladakh, where variations in power distribution reflected local social and political dynamics. Historically, the Cho-sid-nyi became prominent in Tibet with the influence of Mongol rulers in the 13th century. During this time, Buddhist clerics and lay officials served in government together, unlike in China, where Confucian principles restricted the Buddhist clergy's involvement in governance. In Tibet, the Gelug school under the 5th Dalai Lama, R. 1642–1682, consolidated power, creating a government that combined religious and secular authority. The Dalai Lama held both spiritual and political roles, formalizing a system where religious and secular officials operated within distinct but cooperative bureaucracies. In the mid-18th century, the 7th Dalai Lama restructured this system, replacing the Desi, regent, role with the Kashag, council, while assuming the position of both spiritual and political leader. This system remained until the Chinese annexation of Tibet in the 1950s.
In 1950, Tibet was occupied by the armies of Communist China, ending a long period of Tibetan self-rule. Greedy for conquest, the Communists wanted mastery over the land and soul of Tibet. The Dalai Lama was brought to Piping, along with the Panchen Lama, who is regarded as a divine incarnation second only to the Dalai Lama. Communist China had promised to respect Tibet's religious institutions and its right to local self-rule.
In Bhutan, the Cho-sid-nyi was introduced in the 17th century by Shabdrung Ngawang Namgyal. Bhutan's unique interpretation divided authority between the Khenpo, religious head of the Drukpa lineage, and the Druk Desi, civil administrator, with the Shabdrung as a unifying figure. In 1907, Bhutan established a monarchy under Ugyen Wangchuck. Since then, the Druk Gyalpo, king of Bhutan, has held the combined roles of secular and spiritual authority, though the Khenpo remains an influential religious advisor. The 2008 Constitution of Bhutan supports a modified version of the Cho-sid-nyi, with democratic principles and a more symbolic role for religious officials. The Cho-sid-nyi also influenced the governance of Sikkim and Ladakh. In these Himalayan kingdoms, Chogyal dynasties followed a system similar to Tibet's, with rulers who embodied both religious and temporal authority. The Sikkimese Namgyal dynasty, recognized by Buddhist lamas, lasted until 1975, when Sikkim integrated with India. Ladakh's Namgyal dynasty ruled until the 19th century, when it came under Rajput and later Indian suzerainty. Today, Bhutan remains the only sovereign nation that continues to operate under a version of the Cho-sid-nyi. In Tibet's government in exile, established in India, the structure also reflects the dual system, with religious representation in the Tibetan parliament. In 2011, the Dalai Lama announced his political role in favor of a secular prime minister, though he continues as a spiritual leader, reflecting modern adaptations of the Cho-sid-nyi's principles.